What is up, good people? Jungle Inc. here, hope you're doing well. Aren't cryptocurrencies crazy? We go from 1 minute nothing's going on, then just all mayhem breaks loose, SEC suing everyone, and now we are starting to see traditional finance get into place for a hostile takeover of this asset class as it graduates from a hobbyist level to the real deal here. Number one, Blackrock leading the way with their ETF application. We know most of theirs go through 570 approvals, only one that didn't get approved. Now, this is a different beast here. We're not talking about your regular everyday ETF. The first of its kind, the first Bitcoin spot ETF, but it's not just Blackrock. Valkarie today files their spot ETF. So you see all these traditional financial institutions getting ready. They're not stupid. They know something's coming. Also, Fidelity is rumored to be filing one shortly and also may acquire Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. Fidelity has stated they plan to make a splash in the crypto space, and that would be pretty big to acquire Grayscale and be able to finally bring that into a Bitcoin ETF. Would be absolutely massive. Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Citadel launch a new crypto trading platform, EDX. And all of this all at once, just as the SEC does what? They go after the crypto exchanges here in the US, pretty much trying to run them out of town. Now, I think some will make it. I think Coinbase will do fine, and they will be here long term. But they work with the Blackrocks. They work with traditional finance to custody and do a lot of services there, so that makes a lot of sense. But I don't think it's any accident we see right now the SEC making these massive power moves to seize control, just as BlackRock, Fidelity, Valkarie, Charles Schwab, and Citadel start making their moves, and there's going to be more. They're going to usher in this asset class. We are on the cusp here. Now, be careful. Just because there's a filing now doesn't mean it will, automatically be approved. There may be more work to be done before we get there, but it's no longer a pipe dream. The traditional financial system will be integrated with the crypto space. It'll be fully regulated, and then we should be seeing an explosion of not just new investors. There's a lot of people, they're not comfortable with Binance and Coinbase, but they will invest if they had the option with Fidelity or BlackRock, whatever. So that's going to bring a lot more money in here, but I think even more importantly, we're going to see a massive expansion of entrepreneurs that are going to use this technology to build a bunch of systems of the future, very similar to what we saw the development curve with the internet. At the end of the day, that's where the value of this asset class is derived. It's not just fool's gold. These are all tools to accomplish a task, to build the systems of the future. And so we're going to see that start to roll out in a meaningful way. Mass adoption, here we come. Best believe it. Now, Ripple court case, we're all waiting. What's going to happen here? And if you saw me on Twitter, I've been arguing about how I think Ripple's going to just outright win this thing. Truth be told, I have no idea. We're going to have to see how the judge looks at this novel asset class. Clearly, it's not like stock. It's not like in the Howey case where there was a business and they were selling you interests, but trying to disguise that with contracts. This isn't a debt position. But to be honest, I just don't know. It's a gray area of the law. It's a novel area of the law. And this court case with Ripple is going to be telling, and I'll tell you why. The SEC, they filed this court case on the last day of Jay Clayton's tenure. It wasn't well thought out. They filed it, then immediately had to amend it for some reason. And we've got to watch the whole process. It just hasn't been played well by the SEC. Further, Ripple has a lot of money. $200 million they're going to be spending on this at the end of the day, willing to do so, and they have great attorneys that have executed well. You remember at the beginning of this, everyone was against Ripple. Everyone thought that Brad and Chris were criminals and then we were going to go to zero, and they turned the tides, and they really presented their case well, where at least the public opinion is SEC's the bad guys, Ripple's under attack unjustly. We'll see if they could have that same, success with the judge. SEC was quite sloppy. There was a lot of things under the hood here with the Hinman emails. I know people said they're nothing burgers. They're not. They're significant. And just in general, the approach was not good. What I'm getting at, if the SEC was going to approach another project, and you're going to look at all of these issues, I don't think anyone's going to fare better. So this is for all the marbles here. If Ripple loses, if the SEC is able to somehow make their case to the judge and she agrees with them, I don't think the next one is going to draw a better judge or have a better defense. So we're going to have to assume that the SEC under US law is going to have regulatory authority over this space. It's not going to kill Ripple. XRP Ledger isn't going to wind down. It just tells us that's who's going to be making the laws and regulating crypto in the United States. They only have authority here. Remember, when we look at Library, it's not the SEC necessarily that shut them down and put them out of business. They just didn't have the financial backing to go through the process. Actually going to court, win, lose, or draw, pretty much bankrupted them. That's not the case here. So we're going to have to see how it plays out. Again, I'm hopeful. I believe Ripple is going to have a great result here. But either way, nothing's worse than being stuck in purgatory where we just don't know, where they just don't comment and they make, little speeches about Ethereum and nothing else, and they give one project a hard time and totally ignore others. Like, once we get by this, we're going to know better where we stand from a legal standpoint. Again, gray area, novel area of the law, but we're going to get some clarity here real quick. And with that, we can work with that. Remember, David Schwartz said it's not about bad laws. It's just we don't know exactly what the laws are. The judge is going to, dictate her authority here. Now, Ripple could appeal, sure, but I'm not sure that's really going to be necessary. I call Gary Gensler's bluff this whole process, saying he would cave, saying he would settle. Well, it turns out he wasn't bluffing, man. He's got a full house here. He is actually intent on getting a decision from the judge. Probably was from day one. Of course, as an XRP investor, it's a lot easier to figure out if we just outright win this sucker. XRP immediately starts trading again in the United States. Like, that's our dream scenario. But long term, I'm not sure it matters. As long as we get that summary judgment, again, we'll know where we stand. We can adjust and work within the confines of the law. Not a big issue. The judge sure is taking a long time here. I sure hope she's got something good for us, putting her time to good use. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.